What is Starlink? Starlink is a 6-year-old division within SpaceX, an aerospace manufacturer and space transportation company. It has spent 3 years launching more than 1,000 satellites into orbit. And it recently scored $885.5 million in grant funds from the U.S. Federal Communications Commission. It's now offering pre-orders sign-ups, and in February 2021, Elon Musk disclosed that Starlink now serves more than 10,000 customers. The idea is Starlink satellites can connect you to the internet. Starlink promises to deliver high-speed broadband internet to locations where access has been unreliable or completely unavailable. Currently, it only works for homes and isn't mobile, but that's coming. There are other satellite internet service providers out there, too, such as HughesNet or Viasat. But Starlink is more well-known because of its connection to Elon Musk and SpaceX. There are a few components to Starlink. The satellite internet constellation, which is also called Starlink. That beams internet access down to Earth, the ground-based hardware needed to connect to Starlink's satellite internet service. And the subscription fee that SpaceX charges for you to use its internet. The Starlink satellite constellation is also being utilized in a joint venture with T-Mobile, which plans to provide cell phone coverage to the entirety of the United States and eventually, the world. How many Starlink satellites are in space? Starlink's first prototype satellites launched into orbit in 2018. There have been more than 20 successful launches since then, bringing the total number of satellites launched to nearly 1,300 as of February 2021. SpaceX launched some of the satellites into orbit using the Falcon 9 orbital rocket. Eventually, Starlink hopes to surround the entire planet with satellites that can beam down a usable, high-speed Wi-Fi signal. Starlink will probably need at least 10,000 satellites in orbit to achieve that goal. SpaceX has suggested it wants as many as 30,000 satellites in the constellation, while Musk has claimed the service should hit worldwide availability sometime in 2022, if it can successfully complete several more satellite launches. What does the Starlink hardware include? When you subscribe to Starlink, you will get a kit that includes a satellite dish and router. All you need to do to make the connection is set up the satellite dish at your home. It receives the signal and passes the bandwidth onto your router. There's a Starlink app for Android and iOS that features augmented reality to help customers pick the best location to place their receivers at home. Why satellites, anyway? Isn't fiber faster? Fiber, or internet delivered via ground-laid fiber optic cable, offers upload and download speeds that are indeed much faster than satellite internet. But, as companies like Google will tell you, there's nothing fast about deploying the infrastructure necessary to get fiber to people's homes. That's not to say that there's anything simple about shooting satellites into space. But with fewer sharp-elbowed competitors, and with a lot less red tape to cut through, there's every reason to believe that services like Starlink will reach the bulk of underserved communities long before fiber ever will. Recent FCC filings also suggest that Starlink could ultimately double as a dedicated phone service, too. And don't forget that this is Elon Musk we're talking about. SpaceX is the only company on the planet with a landable, reusable rocket capable of delivering payload after payload into orbit. That's a mighty advantage in the commercial space race. On top of that, Musk said in 2018 that Starlink will help provide SpaceX with revenue needed to fund the company's long-held ambition to establish a base on Mars. How fast is Starlink's internet service? Starlink's speed differs depending on your location, but Ookla's testing shows it to be consistently much faster than competing satellite internet services. In the UK, Starlink doubles the median download speed of fixed broadband providers, pretty impressive stuff. You can see more details about Starlink's real-world speeds here. Since February 2022, Starlink has offered a premium tier that promises download speeds between 150 to 500 megabits per second, with latency between 20 to 40 milliseconds. It also bumps the upload speed to 40 megabits per second. It comes at a pretty lofty price point, though. Can you use Starlink in poor weather? We haven't had a chance to test Starlink, but weather does appear to be an issue. According to Starlink, the receiver is capable of melting snow that lands on it. But the company recommends installing Starlink in a location that avoids snow buildup and other obstructions from blocking the field of view. It also notes, heavy rain or wind can also affect your satellite internet connection, potentially leading to slower speeds or a rare outage. Where is Starlink available? According to SpaceX, Starlink's service is ideally suited for areas of the globe where connectivity has typically been a challenge. It is currently only available in select parts of the US, Canada, the UK, and other areas, with coverage focused on areas sitting between 45 and 53 degrees north latitude. Coverage will grow as more satellites are added to the Starlink constellation. Update on 12 May 2022. SpaceX is now available in 32 countries around the world, the company has announced. The space company says it'll ship immediately. Starlink shared the service's availability map, which shows it is available across most of Europe and North America, as well as parts of South America, Australia, and New Zealand. The rest of the world, including Africa, is shown as coming soon with availability expected in 2023. For reference, earlier this year, SpaceX said it was available in just 25 countries. Who can try Starlink? Starlink has begun accepting orders from customers who want to try Starlink. Type in your address on Starlink's site and press the Order Now button to see if you're eligible.